Alright, YouTubers and CB360 enthusiasts, my name's Dave, like always.
No shit, Sherlock.
And you found do-it-yourself, do-it-right, and we're on 360 again. And, we're moving fast like the Furious. Or Fast and Furious, although I'm not mad. We're moving quickly is what I'm saying. Let's get into it. Alright, last video we did a will it run. Pretty much knew it was going to run. Since then, I pretty much buttoned up this whole engine, and that meaning, I've already done the cam chain adjustment. I've already done the valve adjustment. As you can see, I wrote down, what the valves need to be. And I've also done timing. Points gap, timing, all that goodness. That's all wrapped up. If you guys need a video on how to do all that stuff, I did videos last summer. Link to those around my head. So that side of the engine is all buttoned up. Everything, as you can see, I put my filters on. I buttoned up some wiring, cleaned it all up, basically. Which leads me to the last big thing on this engine that I need to do and that I wanted to make a video about. And that is the dreaded clutch pop. If you're a CB360 owner and enthusiast like myself, and you haven't come across the dreaded clutch pop, consider yourself lucky. Basically what I'm talking about is when you pull the clutch in and you hear a big old pop or a thunk basically it makes a thunking noise or a pop. The reason why it's called the dreaded clutch pop. I don't know if that's, like a coin term, but that's what I call it, and I've seen it in a couple other videos. And, basically what it is you have your clutch adjusted too tight. Either your cable's too tight up here, or you got it too tight down here, or this isn't adjusted properly. It's a system. It needs to be adjusted, and if it's not adjusted properly, it's not going to work, and you'll find yourself out in the middle of the street with no clutch. You'll have zero handle. It'll just be stuck in, gear. You'll probably, if it pops while you're sitting at a stoplight, the bike will probably jolt forward and you might go into traffic and you might die. Probably not, but it could happen. It could happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over how to set this clutch, and I'm going to do my best. Now I will say that the guy, Brendan, at Common Motors, he has a very good video, and I don't normally link people's videos to my videos, but I'm going to go ahead and do that for you guys, because I don't know if I can do as good a job as he does. Just saying, I'm not great at everything.
That's what she said.
And he does a great job explaining all the parts and what they do and how they do it and everything else and yada yada yada. I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys how to adjust it. Alright, first things first, and the first thing is getting access to here. You're going to have to take your shifting lever off. You're going to have to take your foot peg off. That's just a number 14 nut. And then you just pop this sucker off. It might be a little bit difficult to get off. This one's not that difficult because it's been off. Now, if you're putting a bike together for the first time, there are three, let's see, let me count them. One, two, three, four major parts in this system. And if I can get in here and show you, maybe, somehow, I can. Oh, there we go. All right, so here we have this is the mechanism that comes out and it pushes against your, I don't know what you want to call this. This is the stud that goes across to the other side that pushes your clutch plates, all right? You have to make sure that there is a ball bearing down inside of that mechanism. That ball bearing is a must. It has to be there. Your clutch will not work properly if that ball bearing is not in there. Okay, so you got that one as the first part. The next part is there's a little, you can see them, 3 ball bearing. It's like a little plate. It just slides down in there. And it's going to slide down onto another mechanism that has 3 little grooves. And I'll show you on this part because this part has it also. See these 3 little grooves? That's where those ball bearings ride in. And basically what happens is when you pull that clutch lever in, it's pulling this mechanism up. It's going up and it's making this mechanism move on those ball bearings. And what it does is it rides up on those ball bearings. Think of 2 plates pushed together. When you pull it, it just turns and it moves up. When your cables are too tight, not adjusted properly, what happens is there's a lot of tension in there and it'll push and it'll be really tight and it'll make those little ball bearings, it'll pop to the next, it'll basically just slide over one whole hole and then you lose your whole clutch. What you got to make sure is you got to make sure there's enough grease in that whole mechanism. I will say this and I'll say this 100 times. You cannot have too much grease in that mechanism. The more grease, the better. I'm talking pack that thing full of grease. I didn't pack that full yet because I wanted to show you guys and I didn't want to have a ton of grease in there. Now, let me show you how to adjust it. All right, as you can see, I got it packed full. You can use any kind of grease, that's bearing grease. Use whatever you have. I want to show you one thing that you need to check before you put this on the side of the bike. The one thing that I want to show you, and I want you to watch this mechanism right here. When you pull your lever, that mechanism should push out. See how that's pushing out? If that mechanism is not pushing out, see how it's working some of that grease out of there actually, because I packed it slam full of grease. If that mechanism does not move out, your clutch is not going to work properly. That means you got something wrong with the system. Long time ago when I was working on my racer, I had clutch issues and I couldn't figure these clutch issues out. One of the issues was the cable was too long. So you got to make sure you don't have too long of a cable. The other issue that I had, and I wasn't paying attention, and you get super hyper focused on this and you're not really focused on up here. One of the things you need to make sure is make sure your cable is in the adjuster. This was pulled out. You can pull it out and it was up there. Right? So you got to make sure that it's in there. Believe it or not, that will throw your clutch off. Okay? It just will. It just will. Now, I've gotten into a habit, it's probably a bad habit. I run this in halfway because I know that that's a good starting point. I run this guy in halfway. I believe if you watch the Common Motor video, he tells you to run it in all the way. You can if you want. I just know that that's a good starting point. Also, this adjustment down here, should be all the way down, meaning you should be able to see a bunch of threads right there. That adjustment should be all the way down. Let me go ahead and slap this in, or slap it on, get it in there, and then we'll do some adjusting.
One eternity later.
Side cover is on. Don't pay attention to the hardware or the, don't pay attention to the hardware store hardware. I have some Allen head stuff that I'm going to put on there. I just, you know, that just to me looks tacky. Whatever. So this is on, ran up, hooked up. We're set halfway, and you got a little bit of play in your cable. See how there's a little bit of play in there? You want a little bit of play, okay? If you're one of the people that don't want any play, well, don't ride a CB360. You want a little bit of play there. It'll help you out in the long run. It'll make sure you don't get the clutch pop. So what you need next is you need a flat tip and you need a number 12 wrench right here. So basically, it's already loose because I was messing with it. You basically want to run that out, okay? Then you take your flat tip. Now how you adjust this is, if you run it in, you'll feel no resistance. There's no resistance there, nothing, zero. What you're doing when you run it in is it's moving that mechanism out. You're moving it away from that push rod that goes across the engine to the clutch over there. So what you want to do is you want to run this screw out. And you want to run it out until you start feeling a little bit of tension. Like right there, I start feeling a little bit of tension. Basically what I did is I ran that mechanism out, so now it's pushing on that rod. So what I do is, once I feel it, I go just a hair more. You run it out just a hair more to put a little bit of tension on that rod. Now that's probably like a quarter turn, maybe an eighth of a turn. And then you run that down and you tighten it down. Now what you want to do is you want to take your lever and move it. You get some good springiness. Anything? Good. Oh, that's what I was hoping for, actually. You hear that? It popped. Now I want to show you. You got no lever, right? You got none. Zero. Unless you have a flat tip and a 12 or a crescent wrench in your toolbox, when you're out on the street, you're basically screwed right now. You got nothing. So, let me loosen it up. I'm gonna loosen this up and I'll show you what it does. And your flat tip, you run it in to relieve some of that pressure. You hear my handle pop back, and now you're in. Now you run it out till you just feel a little bit of pressure right there, and you want to go a little bit more. Tighten it in. Check your handle. All right. And that's how you adjust your clutch. One thing I do recommend is when you do a clutch adjustment like this, pull your clutch in and hold it. Get that tension on there. Make sure it's not going to pop. It's basically all over but the crying. I don't really have any other major things to do. I cleaned up my mirrors. Gonna put those on. I've also painted, cleaned up the CB360 side covers. Now I wish I had one that was gonna match the tank, or ones that would match the tank. I also put the cap release on the tank. And let me say, this bike has went together rather well, rather quickly. I did want to show you everything step by step, but unfortunately, you know, it kind of gets a little tedious showing every little thing. You know, like if you're gonna attempt to work on a CB360 and you can't take or put on, say, said air cleaners, then you probably should not be attempting a total bike rebuild. Same with the exhaust, although I did fight with this exhaust a bunch. I had exhaust leaks. These are not the right header pipes. They're obviously not the right exhausts. So getting that in there straight and with you know, the little crushable seals, that was a nightmare. Basically, I had to take my big Ooga Dooga, put it on there without breaking or stripping out the studs, and just squish. I think I have two of those seals in each cylinder just so I don't have an exhaust leak. That was fun and exciting trying to get that fixed. But like I said, the only thing left really, I got to do a carb sync. I got to do, that's it. Carb sync. And that's super easy. And then just ride it. Get it out on the road. You know, putting the tank on, just slapping it in there, hooking the rubber up, putting the seat on, sliding it on there, putting the pin in, that's it. And well, you know, mirrors, they just screw in, you know, that's it. So, if you guys like these old bikes, and if this is the first video you've grabbed or you've seen on this bike and on my channel, there are plenty more. Just you know, check out the 2-into-1 playlist. It's all there. I had 2 bikes, ripped them apart, took the good pieces, put it on the good frame, and you know, just been working my way to get everything working, and everything besides the neutral light. I can't get the dang neutral light to work properly. Everything besides the neutral light works. Horn works, blinkers work, high beam, low beam, everything works. But like I said, if you guys like this kind of stuff, check out the other playlists. If you want to see car videos, I got a video on the old 55 Ford under the cover. There's also a Suzuki over here in the corner. Got a couple videos on that I gotta, you know, this one needs head gaskets. There's videos on my Road Glide and on my Softail under the cover. By the way, if anybody wants a Road Glide, it could be for sale. I have possibly some plans for the old Ford, and if I follow through, if I want to do the plans that I have for the Ford, I gotta sell the Road Glide, unfortunately. But that bike has never been a forever bike for me anyways, although, you know, my Softail is, and so is my 360 under the cover up there. There's also videos on that bike if you guys want to search around the channel. Lots of videos, lots of time spent in the garage and out at car shows. So check out those playlists, check out those videos. Like, tag, share, follow, subscribe. Hit that notification bell when you want to see more videos that I put out. And like always, till next time, thanks a lot.